Hello!
And welcome.
And welcome to the worst profile of all time, maybe? Question mark?
Could
We'll
be.
see.
Who knows?
Yeah. Would you mind telling
All
these
right.
lovely people what you had?
So at the Knoxville Regional this past weekend, I decided to play Naturia Runick, but there's a couple cards in there you might not have seen in some other deck profiles. Here, let me just grab my deck real quick.
Do you want to explain the butter box?
All right, so if we start with the main deck, we have the four most important cards in the entire deck that I saw in all of my hands. They were really game changing. All right, we have the fish, baby.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
We
about.
got the fish.
We were playing Naturia, Runick, Ghoti. So these guys are super important. It's kind of helpful to see like at least one of them in your hand. Mostly the two that come back during the standby phase to synchro, because you can discard them off Huggin and then banish them with Synopsis when you search it with the level 6 synchro, which I'll show in the extra deck. But now post looking at this, I probably played too many fish. I think I would cut this one and possibly this one and just play the synchroers because they were the most helpful. And when you draw too many of them, your deck really doesn't do too much else besides that. So to change it up in the future, that's probably the route I'll go down.
Very
So
intriguing.
next we have the Runick engine. So we played 2 Fountain. We have 3 Tip, 3 Fire, 3 Destruction, 3 Freezing Curses, 2 Slumber, and the 1 Dispelling. So in total, it was 2 Fountain and 15 spells.
Seems like a bit of a fishy ratio.
Yeah, I think I cut 1 spell for one of the fish, so I think I'm gonna add more when I take some of the fish out for my next build of it. But these were all super good. They played like Runick usually plays, so everything was kind of stock standard there. I was a little disappointed. There was one game where I had a destruction set and a destruction in my hand against a Cashtira player. I destructioned on my turn his birth, so then he played a second birth, and I destructioned it again, drew 2, and then he played a third birth, and I wanted to commit sewer slide. But sometimes that happens, and you wait for activation points with that deck because he never activated it. I just destroyed it on activation, so he never activated his effects, so you have to go
So
full
sad.
combo on
So
it.
sad.
Kind of hurts. So next we have the Naturia engine. So we played 3 Camilla, 3 Blessing, 3 Tree, 2 Cricket. Now I cut a Cricket for one of the fish, and I think that was a terrible mistake. I should have cut one of the Blessings, I think, or something else, but the deck really suffers when you don't open a way to get to either of these two. So that definitely hurt. It hurt my Naturia like ratios a lot, especially for the end board that I was trying to get to. But these are all really good cards. I actually ended up Blessing is really funny because you don't have to synchro summon specifically a Naturia extra deck monster or anything like that. It just allows you to quick synchro. And sometimes that came up where I had enough monsters on my side of the field that I could quick sync using Blessing into the go to the DPion to banish my opponent's entire board, which was a very funny interaction. So Blessing is definitely probably a 3 of, just for that aspect alone if you're playing the Ghoti stuff, because you can quick sync into them on your opponent's turn and activate all their effects, which is pretty ridiculous sometimes.
So good.
So I was like this close to like outplaying a Sprite board using he was Adventure Sprite, and I used a ball as negates, and then he went into Diviner of the Heralds, and I was going to freezing curses to negate its effects when I was going to go for Deep Beyond, but I forgot that Herald tributes itself for cost, and freezing curse has to target a monster, so it doesn't work like that. So,
So sad.
yeah, that's the one downside of the Runick cards is that the monsters still have to be on the field. So then for the last bit from the main deck, we have the non-engine slots. For this, I played 2 Dark Ruler and 2 Evenly. I feel like Dark Ruler is like really crazy right now, especially since there's a big resurgence in like sprite boards and stuff like that, and this like really affects the sprite board a lot. And Evenly is just like pretty crazy right now into like full cash or back row decks or anything like that, so I thought it was pretty mandatory in the main deck. I was playing 2 and 2. I might end up playing more Evenlys because this definitely was more helpful in most game states where there were some times I was like drawing just like a ton of Dark Rulers, and sure that it basically allows you to do your plays like without being hit by anything, but the problem is it doesn't like clear their field. So if you don't have like a starter, you kind of get destroyed on the crackback if you don't have anything else past it. Whereas Evenly, you can at least clear their board. So these were both really, really good. Sadly, I only played these 4 in the main. I saw them way too much in my hand. Like I saw multiples, and it was a little annoying because I couldn't get to the Runick engine as much as I wanted to. And then I was playing 3 Ash because I'm terrified of Branded. So Branded is an evil deck, but Ash was just great all weekend. It was really good. And then finally the one Sunflower.
You seem kind of disappointed by it.
Yeah, I never really got into it too much. But the one great thing about this is when you summon it off Mole Cricket on your opponent's turn, it gives you an extra 2 body, which is really helpful sometimes when you have either Hugin still up and any of your other monsters plus one of the fish synchros, because having the extra 2 levels can let you go into higher synchro plays. So once you've used up like the first negate and milled 2, if you want to, instead of using the second monster negate, clear something on the field, you can sync it off and then bring it back with Camilla if they summon another monster, and then still get the second monster negate off of it. So really nice that it's a level 2, which came up a little bit, which is pretty neat. All right, so the extra deck. I don't think it was as optimized as it should have been, but this is the ratios I chose to stick with it. So first off, we got the most important 3 cards.
Of course.
The freaky fish. So basically, if you've seen any Naturia Runick combos, usually the 6 they go into is the Stardust Charge Warrior. So I was like, all right, 6s, if you can just pump out 6s, why not just throw them into a Synopsis, which is like basically full Ghoti combo. So that was kind of like the mainstay of the deck, which is why I put it together, was because this guy's a level 6 and you can make it like super easily with just a Camilla and a Huggin. So yeah, pretty crazy. And then you can get into the other 2 on your opponent's turn, either with the fish synchros themselves or possibly Naturia Blessing, which does work as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, so these guys were great. I used them a lot, and they came up in some really nice situations, like playing through boards and stuff like that, past turn 1. So moving on, we got the Naturia stuff. So we got the Beast and Barkion. Beast was crazy. Just having the infinite spell negates is like nuts. I didn't play a single trap deck, so Barkion was kind of just sitting there, but I feel like you have to play him, because you can also do plays around Evenly, because you can quick sync into him on your opponent's turn with Blessing to negate the Evenly match during the battle phase. And Lord God, was there a lot of Evenly matches yesterday. It was ridiculous. So definitely you have to have at least one. I think one of each is fine, because I mean, even if you're playing against Cash, they have like way better things in your extra deck than these guys, so they're usually sticking around. Because if Cash just goes turn 1, like they're not going to expect you to go into these guys. But if you can break their board and then set up Beast and then pass it back to them, it's really hard for them to play through, because their extension past turn 1 isn't the best. It definitely relies on a lot of the spells. So Beast was nuts. Next, we got the Runick stuff. So we got 2 Hugin and 2 Jif.
What?
So these are basically kind of pretty standard, I think, in most Runick builds. I never missed a 3rd Hugin. 2 is always fine, because usually sync 1 off, and then the next one you put out usually gets beat over by battle or whatever, so it just goes back to the extra deck instead. So 2 is fine here. Gary is great, especially at breaking boards. the ability to just like go into the battle phase turn one, bait out all their interactions that they have for evenly matched, and then just play like 3 Runick spells to clean up the board and summon a couple Jerrys to beat into their stuff and pop cards on the field that are annoying. Plays through floodgates really nice because you can just beat into guys, pop their floodgates. That definitely came up a lot. I played against a Elemental Hero deck, and he just flipped Rivalry on me like 3 games in a row, and like one of my only outs was Jerry. So definitely super nice to have 2. Also, him being a level 4 is great because if your opponent like pops monsters on your side of the board, or
Sorry, just need to make sure this works. I'll get back to the video. Sorry,
You
camera
good
cut.
there?
Yeah, I'm sorry, camera cut out for a second.
This will be cut out. Yeah. Nothing happened. Perfuses starts sweating. Like just, yeah. Jerry's great also because he's a level 4 body. So if they remove some of the monsters on your side of the field and you still have one of the Ghoties left, you can summon him with one of your Runick spells and then sync him off for one of your larger synchros, which is kind of nice. And then all the flex spots in the extra. These ones were kind of, I kind of was trying some stuff. The one Dugaris is definitely pretty necessary. This was actually the only Xyz monster I was playing in my deck. And he definitely came up a couple times with 2 Camellas to just draw 2 and discard 1. Definitely helpful. Charge Warrior, if I opened no Ghoties or anything like that, I would usually just go into him if I had more Runick Engine and just play Runick. So he's definitely just nice. I chose him over Coral Dragon because Coral Dragon's a tuner, and usually I was using the Runick spells to either break boards or summon like Hugin or Jerry on their turn. So if you went like the typical Naturia Runick combo with Hugin and Camilla into Coral Dragon, you can't use the blessing that you search to bring back Camilla to sync into a 10. Because it would be 2 tuners. So that's why I chose this over Coral Dragon. And I didn't really care too much about the Coral Dragon pop effect because the Ghoti stuff can banish stuff on my opponent's side of the field, which is basically the same thing. And yes, that's why I chose that. Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. This card is nuts. Holy moly.
I've been hearing a lot of people say that, and I still don't know what this thing does. I know it brings back a level 2. That's all I know.
Yeah, so it brings back a level 2. You can also, if you're playing Stardust in your extra deck, I'm not playing Stardust in my extra deck. I think I might have switched out one of the other tech cards I'm playing for Stardust. Because what you can do on your opponent's turn as a quick effect is tag itself out, bring out a Stardust Dragon from your extra deck, and then immediately synchro with monsters on your side of the field. So that would be another way to tag him out, bring out Stardust, which is an 8. If you have one of your fish that have been brought back from the banished pile, you can immediately go into Deep Beyond. All in the same effect, and it tributes itself for cost. So if you want to like banish the entire field, this is like another way to do that. I never did that because I don't play Stardust, but I'm thinking I might try that in the future to see if it works out okay. Next is the Changus Bangus. This card's nuts just for like OTKing and like beating over like a Dragoon or something like that already has an attack boost but has negated its effects already. Super nice, and then non-targeting pop, which is great for outing like non-targetable stuff like Dragoon and whatnot. So really nice. The one card that I was trying out but actually ended up like only summoning like once is the Ice Jade 10.
Goodness.
I play this just because it takes a water tuner, and usually Naturia Runick can't do that, but with the Ghoti stuff you can. So if you break their board and then back on your turn 3, you can go into this with the Ghotis that come back from the banish pile on your turn. And this is actually like kind of hard to deal with for some decks, like especially against like a Runick Mirror or into Kashtira. It's like it protects your stuff from being banished. If it gets destroyed and they banish something with Fenrir or whatever, it comes back, and it's just annoying to deal with. A big 3K beater that protects your stuff. So yeah, super handy. I only went into it once, but it's a cool card. I think it has some potential with maybe a better optimized version of this deck. And the last card in the extra is the Baron.
Baron.
Card's crazy. I mean,
Is it?
It's.
Is it
you
really?
You don't have to say too much about Baron. Baron's just a great card to either end on, sink into, do whatever you want with. I had the opportunity one time to synchro summon into it on my opponent's turn, which would have been pretty funny, but I went for something else instead. But yeah, it's just a great overall card and stuff like that.
For a
works
card
really
that
well.
nobody needs to say a lot about. You're saying a lot about it.
Yeah, whatever. Probably the 10 that I went into the most yesterday.
Groovy.
And then for the side deck, I wasn't too big of a fan of my side deck. There was a couple cards I really liked, but there was also some that I think I could have changed for the better. So if I won the die roll and lost the game, and I tried to go first again, the cards that I were siding in were 2 Imperm and 2 Cyclone. These are really my only going first cards that I had in my side deck, mostly just for the Runick Mirror, and then Imperm's just generally good going first or second. Especially into Floodgates, you can set it on your turn and just wait a turn and negate their effects and then do your plays on your opponent's turn, because that's mostly what this deck does. And yeah, I don't know if I would have done this again. I think I need to do a better going first strategy for in the future. I also had 1 Thrust, 1 Tactus that I usually sided in going first, but this doesn't really work out too well, because if they Ash your Hugin, you can thrust into Talons, but you have to set it, so you couldn't draw 2 because they don't control a monster. You can set an Imperm or something like that, which just gives you an extra interruption. But I might try and find something better to grab off of Thrust in the future rather than just Tactus. But going second into Kashtira, this is a really good combo. Speaking of Kashtira, we were playing my favorite card in the game right now. We got the 3 Curry Curry.
Oh.
I love this card so much. Shout out Pack for signing one of mine. Yeah, this card, every single time I'm going second, it's going in my deck unless I'm playing against a trap deck or some stun variant and stuff like that. But card's crazy. It works actually pretty well into Sprite. Sometimes people can try and find it hard to bait out their interactions with stuff, but the Runick and the Naturia stuff do that perfectly. So you can really bait out a lot of their interaction and then just Kurikari them for half their board, beat over whatever's left, and then resurrect in the end phase. So really crazy actually. Whenever I resolved it, I usually won the match. So I really like the card.
Yeah.
The 3rd Evenly I had in the side deck was just another going second staple that I wanted to have in here. I think I'd replace this probably for another going first card in the future. And then this was a little bit of a meta call, I'd say, and a rogue matchup call, but it also kind of works into some of the meta decks. But I played 5 Bestials, so 2 Jerusalem and 3 Magnemite. These actually won me 2 of my games because I was playing against a Drytron player, and these just ruined that deck. He sent Ben 10 off of one of his effects. I chained Magnemite to banish his Ben 10, and he passed after that. Ooh. And so, yeah, they came up, and they were very good when they came up. So I think in the future I'm definitely going to play Bestials in the side, at least 5. I don't think I'd play any more than this, but I might switch the ratios up a little bit. So these were really good. I wasn't too big of a fan of my side deck, but it worked out pretty well for the most part. The engine for engine, the Runick and the Naturia stuff usually goes pretty well into most matchups, and then the Ghoti stuff was just kind of cherry on top.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's the deck profile.
So what was your most played against deck at the tournament? What do you think you had the best fight against?
So I think that I in the first couple rounds I was playing just a bunch of ridiculous decks. I mean, if the stupid 6-Sam FTK guy is watching this video, screw you. That's the 3rd time at a regional I've played against a 6-Sam FTK deck, and this is the first time I won the match, so I was pretty happy about that. But Lord God, I can't believe I played that deck more than once. Towards the end, I was winning in the beginning, and then towards the end of the day, I started to play more cash decks, and it was just later in the day. We didn't get as much sleep, and I lost all my cash matchups, which I shouldn't have lost. But some of them were kind of inevitable. They had the cash busted hands. Like I said, one of them had 3 births in their first 2 turns. which I mean, how is Runick supposed to beat that? So, yeah, and then I got hand trapped twice and then even lead for one of my other games, and then he special summoned Unicorn, and I just kind of like had to scoop after that. So it's like it hurt me a little bit. But I think overall the deck is pretty good. I don't think it's very consistent right now. I need to fix my ratios, but in the future, I think I'm definitely going to give it another shot because I really like the fish stuff. So, so
should have brought your squid hat.
I should have brought the squid hat. I'm so mad. But yeah, I mean, I'll be bringing probably a similar version of this deck to the Rhode Island Regional that's next week. So if you're going to be there, look for the hat. You'll see me, and you can ask me a little more about it if you see me there. So,
all right, groovy.
That's the deck profile.
Thank you very much, good sir.
Yeah, now it's Sean's turn.
Oh, no.